On a beautiful 76-degree day in Baltimore, sunny skies here in the Charm City as we take a look at the new head coach of the Cleveland Browns, Rob Chudzinski, 45 years old, out of Toledo, Ohio. Grew up as a Browns fan, the original Browns. And the head coach of the Ravens, John Harbaugh, also an Ohio product from Perrysburg, Ohio, suburb of Toledo, where he played defensive back in his 6th year as head coach of the Ravens. Cleveland has won the toss. They defer. Ravens will receive. And this is Tandon Doss, 3-year man from Indiana, who was released and re-signed in the absence of the injured Jacoby Jones. Billy Cundiff, a one-time member of the Ravens, with the kickoff. And we are underway as this one is sent high and far. And they'll bring it out to the 20-yard line as the new daddy, Joe Flacco, actually it is his second son, makes his way out of the field.
Yeah, certainly, Marv. Our congratulations go out to Joe and his wife Dana. Their second son wasn't actually due until next Sunday, but Joe told us on Friday he was going to do his best to be there, but that Dana was okay with him staying and playing if, in fact, the baby came on game day. So I'm sure he has a lot on his mind, and we wish him well in this one.
In fact, he was on the field, got the word. Kevin Burnley, an executive with the Ravens, said you could see the tears in Flacco's eyes as his first pass is incomplete, intended for the tight end, Ed Dickson. And for the Ravens, up front, Marshall Yonda, a 2-time Pro Bowler, so tough at right guard. The backs and receivers, the veteran Brandon Stokley will start for the injured Jacoby Jones. Ray Rice is the running back. Rice on the handoff, and they stuff him. So they go to the hurry-up. Take a look at the Browns defensively. Once again, Billy Wynn, a second-year player out of Boise State, starts for the injured Taba Rubin, and a penalty marker is thrown. Linebackers, former Raven Paul Kruger making his return as a member of the Browns. As for the secondary, Joe Hayden, one of the better corners in the league last week, did a nice job against Michael Wallace of Miami.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense number 98, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
It is called on the nose tackle, Phil Taylor, as we get the word from the referee, Bill Vinovich.
Well, we talked about starting games better for Cleveland. Penalties last week were a big story. Watch Phil Taylor right here, jawing with Ray Rice, and then he pushes him. You can't do that right in front of the officials. You've got to exercise some patience when you're provoked. That's a little bit of a mismatch right there, isn't it? Ray Rice and Phil Taylor. That's great. That's the great thing about Ray Rice. He's not going to back down from anybody. Oh, jeez. Put these two guys on the scale for the weigh-in before the heavyweight bout, Marv.
And once again, there was controversy last night in Vegas.
Always.
What a surprise.
We talk about starting games well, and the Browns did not do a good job of that last week. Talked about the penalties and the missed assignments and the turnovers. And on the road, you've got to have some poise with the crowd noise and with some of the chirping early.
And the officials explaining the situation to the Browns head coach, Rob Chudzinski.
You know, Marv, I'm not surprised to see the Ravens start with this no-huddle approach. I mean, this is something that Flacco really likes. Did a lot more of it last year when Jim Caldwell took over for Cam Cameron. And remember now, they struggled to find their rhythm a little bit last week in Denver. This is something that can help Joe Flacco get off to a good start, particularly with some of those short and intermediate throws.
And apparently they are warning players on both teams to kind of cool things down right after start. This is a Baltimore Raven team, despite the Super Bowl championship, that has made significant changes. They attempt to get younger and faster. Donna, Ray Lewis, and Ed Reed, and Bernard Pollard, the center, Matt Burke, Anquan Bolden, who had a terrific game last week. Here is Flacco on a timing pattern that is incomplete, broken up, intended for Torrey Smith. covered by the left corner, Joe Hayden.
Well, they're not going to back down from Joe Hayden. You know, you look at last week, Miami refused to throw the ball in the direction of Joe Hayden, decided to go after Buster Skrine a lot more. Hayden's really playing at the Pro Bowl level. You go back and watch him into last year, Marv, he's just a guy that does a good job reading the eyes of the quarterback and driving on a lot of throws.
Ravens have a 2nd down and 10 at their 32-yard line. The running back is Rice. Short drop by Flacco and completes. Right at the marker. Looks like Torrey Smith picked up the first down. Smith last week caught 4 balls for 92 yards, and he now is considered the Ravens' top receiver.
Right, and the interesting thing is Joe Hayden is now traveling. He's going to follow Torrey Smith around. We saw him that last play go from being the left corner to the right corner. Interesting matchup.
Ravens go with the 2 backs as Rice and Leach line up in the offset eye. And here's Rice finally opening and has another first down. Tackled by the free safety, Deshaun Gibson. Pickup of 11.
Well, they've just a big offensive line, and sometimes Ray Rice gets lost behind that big group up front. He's very patient. It's a nice job setting those inside linebackers and then wrapping things, winding things back to the backside.
Last week playing from behind, Rice with only 12 carries, 36 yards, obviously against the Peyton Manning onslaught. They had to abandon the run. Here's Flacco throwing deep down the left side and nearly picked off. Pass intended for the rookie Marlon Brown, rookie out of Georgia, goes 6'5".
Well, they've got to find out early. You mentioned Brown, Marv, 6'5". They've got the smaller corner there, Buster Skrine, who really struggled last week. Not surprised to see them try and go after him early.
Marlon Brown, fast and physical, had a very strong preseason. Rice, pickup of 2.
We mentioned the injuries that the Ravens have at some key positions with Pitta being out and Jacoby Jones, and I think Ray Rice has to be more involved in this one early, Marv. I mean, not just in terms of the running game, but in the passing game. He's an excellent screen runner. I think looking back in terms of what happened week 1, they didn't get him enough touches early in that game.
3rd down and 8. Flacco starting out 1 for his first 4. Facing the pressure, able to complete on the left flat. Dallas Clark picks up the first down. An 8-yard advance. Dallas Clark last week, 7 catches, 87 yards, but Rich dropped that potential touchdown pass, which is most unusual for Dallas Clark.
No, he's a good player, and, you know, he just, again, one of the players that wasn't here in the offseason program. Not just Dallas Clark, but Brandon Stokely. So it's taken a while for him to get comfortable with this scheme and with Joe Flacco.
And obviously, Dallas Clark, shake it up. We're told from the Ravens sideline that Dallas Clark had the wind knocked out of him, but he's all right. Easy for me to say he's all right.
You have to have your head on a swivel out there.
Flacco is taken down. Arkevious Mingo, the rookie out of LSU, first-round draft pick, making his NFL debut here this afternoon. Sat out last week. He'd been out with a bruised lung. So Mingo coming up with the sack and a loss of 9.
And that's great to see if you're a Browns fan. I mean, their #1 draft pick, as you said, Mark, didn't play last week, but a terrific way to get off to a good start against Bryant McKinnon.
This Flacco firing a Phillip inside the 35, connecting with Marlon Brown.
I'm just talking to Joe Flacco on Friday. He said he's got to make sure that Marlon Brown is on the same page. In other words, you can't let him leave the huddle with any uncertainties. Joe's really looked over at him, making sure he understands the formations, his assignments, where he's going to line up, and if he has any adjustments after the snap of the ball.
Picked up 12, 3rd and 7. The ball spotted at the 32. Stokely in motion off to the far side. Flacco's pass through the hands of Brown. Marlon Brown had a shot at it in the end zone. He was covered by Chris Owens.
Well, we've seen another number of throws down the field already in this one. That's one you think you could squeeze in and make if you're Marlon Brown. But Joe Flacco's got a big-time arm, and he loves to throw the ball down the field.
So this will be a 50-yard field goal attempt for Justin Tucker, who hit on 2 of 2 last week as a rookie last year, 30 of 33. And the kick by Tucker, no good. Last year also hit 4 of 50 yards or more. So he has done well from long range, but not this time. 50 yards away and off to the right.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Microsoft Surface. Click in and do more. And by the new 4-door Fiat 500L.
About 15 minutes ago, they unveiled the Super Bowl championship banner here in Baltimore. As you take a look at Brandon Weeden, as the Browns go to the offense for the first time, they start out from their 40-yard line. Weeden looks to throw, can't find anyone, and throws on the run and has a man. It is completed to the tight end Cameron, and Cameron is hauled down inside the 10-yard line. Jordan Cameron, who had a big game last week against Miami, a career-high 9 receptions, 108 yards.
Yeah, nice job sliding and finding some space in the pocket there, finding his tight end Jordan Cameron. Clearly he's got a comfort level with Cameron, who had 9 catches last week for 108 yards and a touchdown against the Dolphins. Nice job adjusting the field. This is what the Browns need. They need a fast start on the road. They've not had a lot of success in the division.
That's good for 53 yards. First and goal down at the 7. The running back is Trent Richardson. Richardson trying to dance his way, gets to the 5-yard line. Met by Terrell Suggs, Josh Bynes. Picked up 3. Richardson, who played most of last year with cracked ribs, ran for 950 yards as a rookie, had 51 catches, 11 rushing touchdowns, held in check last week by the Dolphins. Second and goal inside the 5. And again, Richardson. About a yard for Richardson, stopped by Ehedebo, strong safety.
Yeah, Richardson's cut some weight this year, Marvin. A lot leaner, and you look at, he's the type of back that can find a crease and turn a 3 or 4 yard gain into an 8-yard gain consistently over the course of the game if you give him enough touches.
It's a third and goal at the 3 of this crowd urging on the Ravens defensive unit. Javon Bess flank to the right.
No, this is not good. Some confusion with the play, getting the play in.
Timeout taken by the Browns. They have to talk it over. Fantasy football fans, still time to get in and play with the best this season. New games available. To join today, sign up now at cbssports.com/football. So Cleveland with a third and goal, down at the 3. What are you looking for here, Rich?
Well, they've got to give Weeden some options. You know, I love the shotgun in this part of the field, and what I liked, Marv, on that first throw was him moving around a little bit, giving these receivers some extra time to get open.
3 wideouts, little split to the right. Out of the gun, Weeden takes a long look, throws end zone. Over the head of Javon Bess. So the field goal unit will come on. And you can hear the reaction to Billy Cundiff, a one-time member of the Ravens. A couple of years back, though, missed a critical field goal. In fact, made the Pro Bowl that season as a member of Baltimore. This is a 21-yard attempt. Angle to the left. So the kick is good by Cundiff, the man who replaced Phil Dawson, who signed with San Francisco as a free agent. Cundiff missed that 32-yard field goal that would have tied the game for the Ravens in the 2011 AFC Championship game against New England. The miss with 15 seconds left gave the Patriots a trip to the Super Bowl. And since his miss, Cundiff was released by the Ravens, Redskins, 49ers, Jets before signing with the Browns in early September. That's kind of the usual path of a field goal kicker these days around the NFL.
Well, it's all about consistency if you want to have longevity at that position. Billy Cundiff just simply hasn't had it in his career.
But he puts the Browns on the board right here. Tandon Doss is back deep once again. Last year, Jacoby Jones of the Ravens led the NFL. He averaged 30 yards a return, including 2 touchdowns. Made it to the Pro Bowl. It's pretty amazing when you consider you hardly see any returns the last couple of years. And once again, Doss lets it go.
These kickers are so strong with the rule change a couple of years ago. It's getting too easy for them.
Tonight on 60 Minutes, where you can hear about Syria from President Obama, President Assad, and one of the CIA's top intelligence officers, only on 60 Minutes tonight. That last Ravens drive, 12 plays, 48 yards, taking just under 4 minutes, ends up with a 50-yard field goal attempt by Justin Tucker that went just wide right. Ray Rice gets the call, picks up 2.
Well, I thought one of the positives last week from watching that Cleveland-Miami game, Marv, was the way the Browns front 7 played. Did a nice job. They held the Dolphins just 20 yards rushing, and I think it's going to be difficult for Baltimore to run the football against that front. That's why they've come out and trying to soften them up a little bit with Joe Flacco piping the ball down the field.
2nd down and 8 from the 22. Flacco able to complete, has a first down and a couple more. Torrey Smith on the reception in the gain of 11. He was covered by Tashawn Gibson.
You know, just in talking to Joe Flacco, he's got to give these guys some time to work. You know, he's got such a history with Torrey Smith, but he's got to be patient with some of these other receivers. He said at times he may have to take an extra hitch to let the route develop.
Into the ground and just a short yardage for Rice. Set for an update. Let's go to JB and Shadow.
No complaints by Mike Wallace this week.
Yeah, he complained last week, JB. The coach and the quarterback hurt him. 3 catches, 46 yards on the opening drive. Jailbreak screen. 18 yards later, he's into the end zone. 7-0 early. Miami over the Colts.
I'm sure Rich Gannon has kept some wide receivers happy. Marv and Rich.
All right, JB, Torrey Smith on the catch once again, short of a first down, about 4 on that play. Joe Hayden, the left corner, right there.
You talk about quarterbacks getting into a good rhythm early. How about receivers and backs? They need their touches as well. Mike Wallace complaining last week in Miami, Marv, just 1 catch. As a play caller, you've got to make sure that you get Torrey Smith going. You make sure you get Marlon Brown some touches so they get into a rhythm early in this one.
3rd down and 6 at the 37-yard line. Flacco able to stand in through sideline. It is incomplete. And Smith certainly had a shot at it. So the Ravens will punt for the first time. Sam Cook, one of the better directional punters in the NFL, will come on.
Torrey Smith is running towards the boundary. Had to kind of spin back around and try and catch a high one. Joe Flacco misses throws. They're usually high and to his left.
Travis Benjamin is back deep. 2nd-year man out of Miami. Benjamin running to his left. They try to cut him off. Nice move back the other way as he cut back. 48-yard punt, 17-yard return. Corey Graham was finally able to get to the elusive Travis Benjamin.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Domino's. Order from Domino's.com today and don't forget to track your order. And by FedEx. Request when and where your packages are delivered with FedEx Delivery Manager.
Nice shot of the inner harbor here in Baltimore. Staff members told me there was free breakfast being served there earlier. Rich was there.
Love the inner harbor.
Very early.
Came over on my sailboat.
Cleveland starts out from its 33-yard line. Richardson is flanked off to the left side. Here is Whedon. Finding running room and then able to slide across that 35-yard line. Suggs on the cover, just a pickup of 2. Browns offensively, once again, O'Neal Cousins at right guard for the injured Sean Laval. They're in the hurry-up. Get back to the lineup in a moment. Out of the gun, here is Whedon firing to the right side. A little sense of urgency on the part of Brandon Whedon when you reflect back to what we saw last week, able to complete to Richardson. And has the first down. Ravens defensively with 4-time Pro Bowl nose tackle Loti Nata. And then there's 5-time Pro Bowler Terrell Suggs leading the linebacker core in the secondary at the left corner. Lardarius Webb, one of the positives, one of the few positives defensively in game 1 against the Peyton Manning onslaught last week. First down at the 44-yard line. Richardson returns to the backfield, but Whedon to throw. Dumps it off. Richardson getting out near midfield. Picked up 4.
You're just watching Whedon. He looks a lot more patient in the pocket. He's playing faster. You see him slide around a little bit. He's avoiding the rush, and he's finding his outlet receivers. You got to look at Rob Jasinski, and had a great conversation with him last night. Norv Turner as well. And they just feel that they've got to give this guy a chance. I mean, they've got to find out about Brandon Whedon early to determine whether or not he is the long-term answer at quarterback.
Second down and 6 at the 48. Norv Turner, now the offensive coordinator for the Browns, telling us the key for us is to get that sense of urgency going for Whedon. Richardson looks to turn the corner. Webb is right there. At times, the sense of urgency has been a problem. Why is that?
Well, I think changing systems, never a good thing for a young quarterback. Last year, he was with Pat Shurmur and Brad Childress. This year, it's Jasinski and Norv Turner. So there's constantly new learning going on. And he needs to play the game faster. You need to see it in his footwork and the decision-making, anticipation, getting the ball out quicker on time. And you see too many throws where he's late. And we always say, if you wait, you're late.
The 3rd and 2 at the 48. Chris Urbanaya, 4-year man from Texas, has come on now for Trent Richardson. Once again from the shotgun formation, but the play is blown dead. Penalty marker down.
Delay game. Offense number 3. 5-yard penalty.
Getting back
Still 3rd down.
to the subject of sense of urgency. Little delay of game there on the part of the Browns.
Yeah, these are the mistakes you can't have. I mean, you have a good play, and all of a sudden you've got a delay again. They almost had one earlier down in the red zone. And we talk about this team's not good enough right now to be able to overcome the penalties. 9 last week, the missed assignments, the mental errors, the turnovers. And that's a problem.
3rd down and 7 back at the 47 as Little splits wide to the left. Get a flag thrown. Whedon's pass is incomplete. It is intended for the tight end Jordan Cameron, but there is a penalty marker on the field.
Illegal shift. Offense. Penalties decline. 4th down.
You can see a lot of motion. Devon Bess at one point, number 15, ends up in the backfield, Little splitting wide to the left.
Yeah, communication, dealing with the crowd noise on the road. And when we talked at Norv Turner last night, one of the things he said was he had a lot of players that had one or two really bad plays. And, you can't have, you talk about a clean performance. Everybody's got to go out there. You can't afford to have everybody make a mistake or two, then you have a sloppy performance.
So Spencer Lanning with the punt, and Goss with the fair catch at about the 14-yard line. A 40-yard punt by Lanning. 3 minutes, 7 seconds left of the first. Browns up 3-0. Back in Baltimore, Ravens start out from their 14-yard line. The Browns 3, the Ravens nothing. Bernard Pierce as coming as the running back for Ray Rice. Here's Flacco throwing on the run, and it's caught for first down. The backup tight end, Billy Benjamin, 9-year man from Oklahoma State. And you wonder what is going through the mind of Joe Flacco. Earlier, his wife, Dana, gave birth to a baby boy, second boy, so Steven now has a little brother.
I can't even imagine, Marv. You talk about having great concentration and focus, and yet you're constantly worried about your wife and your new baby boys. You find out during pregame warm-ups that you're now a father to another son.
Good move by Pierce. Broke a tackle and was able to get 4 yards on that play before Buster Screen was able to get to it. You always say baby boy. Obviously, it's a baby boy. It's a boy. It's a baby.
That's a good point.
Is giving
it's
birth.
kind of a little redundant,
Right?
isn't
Would
it?
you please explain that?
Yeah, it is true. But I will say this about it. If anybody can handle it, it's Joe Flacco. I mean, this guy is cool under pressure. Nothing seems to bother him. But boy, he's got a lot on his plate today.
Second down and 5, and this time just threw it away. Torrey Smith was in the area.
You look at these numbers for Joe Flacco and playoff wins in each of his first 5 seasons, just how well he played in the postseason, really carried this football team. And you think about a guy that's been extremely durable and productive. And that's why he got the big contract, well-deserved this offseason.
Has not missed a start in his NFL career. This is 82nd consecutive start. Flacco on the run. He's in trouble. And throws downfield and nearly got it to Brandon Stokely. An off-balance throw by Flacco facing the pressure from Desmond Bryant.
And he moves better than you think. Extremely mobile and athletic for a bigger quarterback. 6'6", 245. That's got good escapability. Just getting comfortable with new players around him. A guy like Brandon Stokely in the slot.
Second punt coming up for Sam Cook. Travis Benjamin is back deep. In preseason, Benjamin actually returned 2 punts for touchdowns. One was brought back, though, due to a penalty. Benjamin back at his 15. Just under 2 minutes to go in this first quarter. 3-0 Cleveland. Good hang time. Once again, a good directional punt. And Benjamin, it appeared, was calling for a fair catch. That's what the crowd is upset about. Then played it on the hop and got it across the 15-yard line. Looked to be the fair catch signal.
Well, he was trying to.
Well, he'll say he was shielding the sun.
During the kick, holding, receiving team number 24. After this is a goal from the end of the kick, Cleveland keeps the ball. First down.
Well, it's a hold on the receiving team. It turns out to be a 56-yard punt.
Well, he's trying to field it, but then he's got to pull off because of the defender. Now it hits him, and now he knows he has to play it.
Brandon Weeden and the Browns starting out at their 4-yard line off the penalty on that punt, set back to the 4. Brandon Weeden, who was drafted at the age of 28. He's 29 now. He'll be 30 in October. Played 5 years of minor league baseball out of high school. Originally a second-round pick of the Yankees. He was primarily in single A for the Yankees, Dodgers, Royals organization, then decided to attend college, resuming his high school football career. Had a sensational career at Oklahoma State. The handoff is to Richardson. And as we've been discussing, The new offensive coordinator, Norv Turner, has been working with Whedon. I'll get back to that in a moment.
Yeah, just trying to get off to good starts, and last week it just simply didn't happen for them. You look at these first 5 possessions, interception to 3 and out, interception, another 3 and out, and of course the last interception of the half. And today much better. They go down the field, they get a field goal, but that's what they need to do. They need to gain some confidence early with so many young players on offense.
Second down play, and Richardson picked up 4 as we go to our New York studios. JB and Shannon.
How do you slow down the Eagles, Shannon?
11-play, 93-yard drive, capped off Phillip Rivers, 11 yards. Eddie Royal dives into the corner of the end zone, 10-3 early, Chargers over the Eagles.
Who would have thunk it, at least at this point? Marv Albert and Rich Gannon.
All right, JB, third down and 2 from the 12-yard line. Getting back to Norv Turner working with Whedon. One of the concerns has been that he gets a lot of balls batted down.
Too many tipped and deflected balls. It's been a problem. 25 last year, the most in the NFL.
Good pass from Whedon. Able to angle it to the near side. Devon Bess with the catch and a first down.
And that was hard to figure out when we asked the coaching staff about why so many deflected balls from Whedon. Not necessarily his height. I think he's got to do a better job not being oblivious to the pass rush, sliding and finding some throwing lanes, some windows in that pass rush.
And that is the end of the first quarter. The score, the Browns 3, the Ravens nothing. We'll return to Baltimore after these messages. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Marv Albert, Rich Gannon from Baltimore, Maryland. Second quarter getting underway. Cleveland first down at their 20-yard line. The running back is Trent Richardson, and able to bounce his way to the 24, met by Marcus Spears.
Well, the 3 big questions for the Browns: can they change the culture and build a sustainable winner under Rob Jasinski? That's the big challenge for this organization. Is Whedon the long-term answer at quarterback? The Browns have to find out in a hurry. He knows he has to play better than he did last week in order to remain the starter long-term. And finally, can they dominate on defense under Ray Horton? The front 7 is solid. Remember, to survive in this division, you have to be able to dominate on defense.
Second down and 6 at the 24-yard line. Cleveland has lost 10 straight to Baltimore, including their 2 meetings a year ago. This time Whedon facing pressure and has to throw it away. The Browns' last win over the Ravens, November of 2007 here in Baltimore.
Well, they have to beat man-to-man coverage. Go ahead and roll it, and you're going to freeze it right at the top. Right now, look, there's nobody open, and that's the problem. They don't have the personnel right now to win the one-on-one battles. And that's going to be the challenge. Teams are going to crowd the line of scrimmage, try and stop Trent Richardson in the running game, and make Brandon Whedon beat you with his right arm.
Whedon looking at a third down and 6 from the 24-yard line out of the gun. Fires a bullet right at the marker to Bess. Looks to be just short of a first down, a 5-yard gain.
Well, you got to ask yourself, is that the scheme or is that the personnel? You've got a third down situation, Marvin. You run around 2 yards short of the first down mark. I mean, that's either bad coaching or bad execution by the players.
So here is Spencer Lanning, a first-year player from South Carolina. Last year a kicker in the UFL, the United Football League, with the Sacramento Mountain Lions. Tandem dust on the return. Looks like he ran into a teammate, still going down the sideline. You see the punter Lanning was on the scene as he's bumped out by Gary Barnidge, backup tight end. A 49-yard punt and a beautiful return, a 23-yard return by Dust. So the Ravens back to the offense when we come back. Look at some of the numbers. Ravens will start out 1st and 10 from their 44-yard line. As you saw, Flacco 6 of 13, 64 yards, completing to 4 different receivers. Pierce in the backfield takes the handoff and reaches out to the 45, met by the nose tackle, Phil Taylor.
Yeah, I really like this Cleveland defense. I think it all starts with Phil Taylor inside, Marv. I mean, anytime you're going to play the 3-4 defense, you have to have a good nose tackle, and Phil Taylor certainly fits the bill.
2nd and 9. Now Flacco from the gun. Once again, it's Torrey Smith. Able to run it out at the far side, shy of a first down.
A little stick route, so you've got the tight end running the stick, and of course Torrey Smith running a little shoot route. And Flacco's the type of guy that when he's comfortable in the pocket, he can be in for a long day. I think the Browns realize they've got to keep him moving. And that's when the mistakes sometimes creep into his game.
4th catch by Smith. Ray Rice returns. Moves out to the wing. At the far side, here's Flacco under pressure. Spun around. Able to stay on his feet, and down he goes. So tough to bring down. He's 6'6", about 240 pounds, and the outside linebacker, Jabal Sheard, comes up with his first sack of the season. A loss of 6 on the play. The initial hit by Desmond Bryant, and then Sheard with the sack.
Well, Desmond Bryant with a couple sacks last week. They're so much better on the edges. Jabal Sheard moving over from the right side to left side, and Paul Kruger, their big free agent acquisition this offseason from the Ravens.
So the punting unit is in. Sam Cook will boot it from inside his 35-yard line. This is Travis Benjamin letting it go. 45-yard punt for Cook. 3:20 gone by in the second. 3-0 Cleveland.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by TD Ameritrade. American Express. This is what membership is. This is what membership does. And by Ford. Only Ford gives you EcoBoost fuel economy and a whole lot more.
Reminder this coming Saturday, it's the Volunteers of Tennessee hitting the swamp to go up against the Gators. It all begins with college football today. So the Browns take over 1st and 10 from their 7-yard line. This is a franchise that returned to Cleveland as an expansion team back in 1999 following the departure to Baltimore. 14 years. They've had 7 head coaches, 10 offensive coordinators. They have not been to the playoffs, Rick, since 2002. That's a 10-year postseason drought. Their last winning season, 2007.
Too much turnover. I mean, it's some of the most critical positions in the building. Head coach and quarterback.
All right, Reed able to swing it. Richardson with no running room. Cut off by Webb. Well, the last time Cleveland beat Baltimore, November 18th, 2007, in bizarre fashion. Phil Dawson's potential game-tying field goal ruled no good. The game appeared to be over. Dawson thought he made it. Kick went under review, ruled good. Baltimore had to come back on the field, and on the first possession of overtime, Dawson connected on a 33-yarder to win it for the Browns. We go back into the archives. A floating pass and a leaping catch for a first down is made by Benjamin, who breaks a tackle and picks up additional yardage. That's good for 22.
Really nice job by Weeden. Give him an extra hitch and just sitting in there and let Benjamin work down the field against Webb. Not the biggest receiver, just 5 foot 10 inches tall, 175 pounds, but he's got good short area quickness.
Second-year man for Miami, a 4th-round draft pick last year. First down at the 30-yard line. A good start here by the Browns. They're up 3-0. Now have a 1st and 10 on the 30. Richardson picked up 3. Stopped by Nata. Well, it's not too late to sign up and play NFL.com fantasy football. Get free mobile apps and exclusive instant highlights. You can sign in and play for free at NFL.com/fantasy.
You know, just not a lot of big runs out of Trent Richardson. I mean, just 2 of his 267 carries a year ago were for more than 20 yards. And You know, he played with some broken ribs for most of the season, but just 3.6 a carry. They need more explosive runs on the ground from Richardson.
Now Richardson flanks to the top of your screen, wide left side. Whedon couldn't find anyone and then goes complete. Some patience shown by Whedon. Greg Little making the catch. It's a first down. It's an 8-yard advance.
And again, I just think Whedon's doing a nice job moving around the pocket, sliding around, and allowing these receivers some extra time to work down the field. This is a guy that got knocked around a lot last week, 6 times. That right side of that offensive line, O'Neal, Cousins, and Mitchell Schwartz really struggled. Little did as well. He's had some problems with focus and concentration. Too many drops from 18.
He threw 53 times, an NFL high for Whedon. Richardson gets the call, picked up 4, met by Suggs. Last week against Miami, Brandon Whedon sacked 6 times. He went 26 of 53. He had a 52 pass game against the Ravens last season.
Well, that's too much. I mean, your best player, Trent Richardson, only had 13 carries while you threw it 53 times, despite the fact that you had a 7-6 advantage at the half. You're only trailing by 3 heading into the 4th quarter.
Benjamin is flanked wide to the left side. Richardson with a head of steam, try to accelerate, but they are able to stop him just a yard on the play. Josh Bynes, the weak side linebacker, was right there. Richardson last week ran 13 times for 47 yards. Last season in the second meeting against the Ravens, he had a career-high 122 yards.
Well, he's certainly capable, and he's one of those backs, kind of a throwback, that he seems to get stronger as the game goes on. With each touch, he seems to be more productive.
3rd down and 4. Whedon completes for another Browns first down. Devon Bess cutting across for 13. Jimmy Smith makes the tackle.
I thought this was a great pickup by the Browns in the offseason. Devon Bess, who was so productive for the Dolphins on 3rd down, working in the slot. This is really where he's most comfortable, and he can do most of his damage. The guy that had almost 70 catches for the last 4 or 5 seasons for Miami.
Halfway through this second quarter, the Browns 3, the Ravens nothing. First down at the Baltimore 41-yard line. Play fake by Whedon. Steps up, can't find anyone. Lost his balance, and down he goes. Covered up by Suggs. A loss of 2. Good coverage there downfield by the Ravens.
And it all started with the rush off the edge from Terrell Suggs. He's going to beat Joe Thomas around. Forces Whedon to step up back inside, where the Ravens have some big bodies in Arthur Jones and Chris Canty. That's really where it all starts. And Terrell Suggs, we had a chance to sit down with him on Friday, and he says he hasn't felt this good in a long time. Battled the bicep injury, the Achilles injury last year. He's lost weight, he's leaner. He's cut out sugar from his diet, and he's pounding the water, something he said he learned from Ray Lewis.
I thought it was Michelle Obama. Richardson on the handoff. Nowhere to go, and he's pushed back. But it is good advice, Rich. As you well know.
Cut out the sugar and pound the water.
Absolutely. And Suggs lost 15 pounds. He is now a svelte 260.
And one of the things the Ravens did last week, they stopped the run. They stopped Denver's running game with just 6 in the box. So that was a positive when you look at what they did last week. But they had a good look at Terrell Suggs, who is taking on more of a leadership role now that his big brother, Ray Lewis, is no longer a Raven.
Obadiah in the backfield now for this 3rd and 10 at the Baltimore 41. Whedon in trouble. And down he goes at midfield. Elvis Dumervil, who signed with the Ravens after he was unexpectedly cut by Denver, comes up with his 2nd sack of the season. Had one last week, and that's a loss of 9.
Yeah, you could look at Dumervil. We saw Suggs on the other side. You got to pick your poison, and right there, you look at the right tackle, Mitchell Schwartz. He just struggles with Dumervil, who goes low underneath.
Spencer Lanning coming on to punt. Tandon Doss back at his 10. And it's a short punt. Fair catch called for. Goss takes it at the 20-yard line. A 29-yard punt. The Browns 3. The Ravens nothing. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Coming up on the Verizon halftime report, join JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, Coach Bill Cowher for a preview of the Manning Bowl and all the latest NFL scores and highlights coming up on the Verizon halftime report. Ravens struggling offensively. Take over at their 20-yard line. The swing pass to Rice. And he's taken down back behind the line.
Well, you're right, Marv. They just not gotten off to a good start. They missed a field goal in that first possession, and after that, they just haven't been able to find the rhythm, and the numbers on third down are awful. Just 1 of 5 on third down conversions.
Loss of a yard on that swing pass. It'll be a second down and 11. Flacco sets up the screen as Rice looked like he had the step, and then he's cut off from the angle by Mingo.
Well, historically, they've been a very good screen team because the quarterback does a good job drawing the rush, and they've got a very athletic line that can run, get out in front of it, and a very patient back in Ray Rice, who's very nifty in the open field. Good effort there by Mingo, circling back.
That did go for 7. It's a third down and 4. Flacco off the pump. Torrey Smith is stopped short of the first down. Good coverage by Buster Screen, the right corner. That's just a 1-yard gain. And again, here comes Sam Cook.
Well, you're running these man-to-man routes in the corner who you never feel, and Buster Screen that falls off on the backside. These are tough to adjust to. Running a zone route into a man concept.
Benjamin back. Cook will punt for the 4th time this afternoon. Just under 4 minutes to play in the first half. Browns with a 3-0 lead on the Ravens. It's a long count. And again, Cook angles it. And a flag is down as Benjamin steps out of bounds. It's a 50-yard punt, but let's check out this flag.
That's going to be on the heady ball for holding.
Referee Bill Vinovich checking with the crew members.
Holding. Kicking team number 32. 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. Cleveland keeps the ball. First down. Timeout.
Yeah, that is James E. Hedebo. Called on that whole first penalty on the Ravens.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by McDonald's. I'm loving it. And by oneandone.com. Pre-reserved now from over 700 new domains with oneandone.com.
Browns will start out 1st and 10 from their 32. They're led to the line by their center, Alex Mack, 5-year man from University of California. The running back is Trent Richardson. And Richardson to the left side gets to the 35.
Well, we saw the questions for the Browns. How about the Ravens? Their ability to handle success. They can't allow complacency to creep in, and I don't believe it will under John Harbaugh. Of course, replacing lost leaders, especially Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. You know, new leaders must emerge from that locker room. They will in the form of Flacco and Suggs. And finally, with Bolden gone and Dennis Pitta and Jacoby Jones injured, other playmakers need to step up for Joe Flacco in the passing game.
Ravens hoping that Jacoby Jones makes his return. They're saying 4 to 6 weeks for Jacoby. The screen set up with Richardson. Flank wide to the left at the Ravens all over. Led by Darrell Smith, the inside linebacker, so that's just a 3-yard gain.
Yeah, but still, though, the ball's coming out quicker when you study Brandon Weeden, and that's one of the things he said last night. Is I got to do a better job anticipating throws, getting the ball out quicker in this offense, and the decision-making. I've got to be able to clean that up. And if he can do those two things, I think Brandon Weeden has a chance.
Has a chance
to be the starter.
He is the starter.
Long term.
I see.
Here in Cleveland.
I was looking for a complete sentence. Browns take it down to the 2-minute warning. 3-0 Browns. Back in Baltimore, 71,000. Turning out for the home opener for the Ravens. 2 minutes to go, first half. 3rd down and 4. For the Browns. Weeden is 10 of 13, 125 yards. He's hit on his last 6 straight. He's in trouble. There he goes. Darrell Smith with the sack and a loss of 9.
Well, he's going to a little stun, a little game. Suggs starts outside. He works all the way back up inside. You can see the pressure coming from a number of different areas. It wasn't just Suggs, but Arthur Brown as well. Tremendous push on the pocket.
They're punting it, checking in. Spencer Lanning is back at his 15-yard line. Tandon Doss, the return man. It's a short punt. Once again. Doss says, hey, let it go. And we'll stay right here with 1:10 left in this first half. Just a 36-yard punt. Coming up on the Verizon halftime report, JD, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowher will have a preview of the Manning Bowl. All the latest NFL scores and highlights coming up on the Verizon halftime report. Peyton, of course, coming off the 7 touchdown passes in the Thursday night opener against the Ravens.
You look at the last time the Ravens were shut out in the first half. I mean, it's been an ugly start for them at home here.
First down at the 35-yard line as Flacco going to run. And went for 9, covered up by Owens. They're quickly, well, they try to get to the line quickly, but they take a timeout. With 1:03 left in this first half, so Baltimore with 2 timeouts left. Cleveland has 2 remaining.
Well, Cleveland has done a nice job stopping Ray Rice. I mean, that's what they kind of told us last night. That's where it all starts. We've got to slow down Ray Rice, keep him contained, and make Flacco throw the ball a bunch in this one.
Well, a week from tomorrow, get ready for a new thriller from executive producer Jerry Bruckheimer, Dylan McDermott, Tony Collette. Star and Hostages premieres Monday, September 23rd only. CBS. Here's Flacco. Able to hit underneath. Torrey Smith. First down and more for Smith. Good for 27 yards. He got out of bounds, so the clock stopped with 55 seconds remaining of the half.
Yeah, they just run a little shallow cross. You see Flacco. Torrey Smith's going to work all the way across the formation from the right side. They just drop so deep in coverage. You see Jabal Shear. He's late to react.
Ravens first down at the Cleveland 29. Good protection here. Flacco fires for the end zone. And it is caught out of bounds. He was bobbling and out of bounds. It was Torrey Smith. So it is incomplete. Covered by Hayden and Gibson.
Well, you always have to respect the arm strength of Joe Flacco. And Joe Flacco is knocked back down from Joe Hayden. And that's a terrific throw by Flacco. He's got to catch it the first time. Torrey Smith simply doesn't have possession of the ball.
Second down and 10 at the Browns' 29-yard line. 48 seconds to play in the half. Short set by Flacco, dumps it to Rice. Rice is tripped up. Greg Robertson, the inside linebacker, making the tackle. Picked up 3. Timeout again called by the Ravens, so they're down to 1 left.
Boy, Ray Rice almost always makes the first defender miss. He certainly gets your attention when he gets the ball in space. We talked all week about keeping him contained, and This defensive line, you look at Brian and Phil Taylor, and we've been in the ear of Ray Rice the whole day.
It's Taylor, Bryant, Wynn. Up front, Sheard, Robertson, Jackson, and Kruger are the linebackers. 3rd and 7 at the Cleveland. 26, 42 seconds remaining in the half. Again, out of the shotgun. Flacco with a sidestep move, and that pass throw a little too strong and off to the right. Surprising Torrey Smith. And we have something developing.
There's no love lost between these two teams. You mentioned the fact that the Browns haven't won.
There's a late hit right there. Yeah, they've lost the last 10 to the Ravens.
Just 23 wins over the last 5 seasons. 5 straight seasons of double-digit losses. And they're trying to change the culture and the environment. And it all starts with not backing down to the bullies in the division. And that's been the Baltimore Ravens the last couple of years.
And we'll get the word from referee Bill Vinovich.
There's no penalty on the play. Both teams were involved in the activity. 4th down.
It's a no harm, no foul.
Yeah, I guess they're not going to let it go here a little bit. You see Craig Robertson, he comes in there and he's going to push Marlon Brown. Of course, they're showing that one on the replay board here, and a little back and forth. The official right there, he throw the flag, and then they decide to pick it up.
I don't know if that is a bad call, because it's so tough to be able to determine who retaliates. Here's Justin Tucker attempting from 44 yards away with the 4th and 7 for the Ravens. Earlier missed from 50. Tucker usually excellent from long range. No good. He's missed both attempts.
Well, it's all that talk about the bobblehead. Well, he's had some long shots. It looked like it was a good snap and a good hold. And for the 2nd straight kick, Marv, he's missed it right. It's very similar to the first one.
So the Browns celebrate as Justin Tucker, who last year hit 30 of 33, including 4 of 50 yards or more, which set a franchise record. You mentioned the bobblehead.
You jinxed him.
Coming off his outstanding rookie season, Tucker achieving a highly coveted honor. Saw his own bobblehead, actually a bobble leg. He was honored by the Boise, Maryland Bay Sox, a AA affiliate of the Baltimore Orioles, throughout the first pitch, and the Justin Tucker bobblehead was given away. Incidentally, Rich, the Bay Sox going against the Richmond Flying Squirrels. Now, you may ask, I can see the question mark. Flying squirrels? Yes, there are flying squirrels.
I'm aware of that.
You are?
I think we have them in Minnesota. Some in my backyard, maybe.
They kind of glide. All right, here is Whedon as the Browns take over, able to complete. The tight end Cameron with 25 seconds remaining in the half, picked up 12, able to get out of bounds to stop the clock. So first down at the 46 with 25 seconds to go in this first half. A 3-0 lead for the Browns. Whedon looking downfield. Oh, the leaping catch is made. Greg Little with the catch. They're trying to get into field goal range. That's good for 18. And a timeout is taken by Cleveland. Whedon has connected on his last 8 straight.
And really nice job again, shuffling, resetting, and giving his taller receiver Greg Little a chance to go up and make a play. And this is what Little does well. Uses his size in tight coverage, and he can go up and make those plays. Not afraid to go across the middle.
And there is Billy Cundiff. It hit 1 out of 1 last week against Miami, and will get the same kind of greeting that he received earlier on the kickoff. Not a favorite here in Baltimore. First down at the 36, 18 seconds left, first half. And now the Ravens take a timeout. That's their final timeout.
Well, I thought Brandon Weeden has really looked sharp here in the first half. Been talking about him moving around a little bit and making some plays, spreading the ball around to his different receivers. It started with the big throw to his tight end Cameron down the field, and of course they talked about the patience in the pocket, throwing the ball to Travis Benjamin, spreading the ball around to all his receivers, get everyone some touches early there, and Weeden making good decisions, taking care of the football. 12 of 15. This was the kind of start they were hoping from him from last week.
And Rich, that's the way Norv Turner said he was playing in preseason. Of course, in preseason, you're only playing in increments, but he was very satisfied with what he had seen until opening day against Miami.
And I think he's probably a better fit in this offense. I think, he's a guy that likes to throw the ball down the field, and Norv Turner is going to place an emphasis on that vertical passing game.
First down at the Baltimore 36-yard line. Weeden takes a hit as he completes. Not able to get much there. Clock is running, and now the Browns will stop it with 8 seconds to play as they take their final timeout. So when we resume, it is a 2nd down and 7 from the 33, which means about a 51-yard field goal attempt.
Well, I think you got to give Cundiff a chance here with 8 seconds left and no timeouts.
What do you try? Quick sideline to get closer, and then Cundiff? Can you take that chance?
Well, a couple of things to keep in mind. I mean, they know Cundiff's range. They've watched him in practice all week. They've watched him in pregame warm-ups, and must not feel all that comfortable from 51.
They just readjusted the clock. Now 11 seconds.
Well,
went from 8 to 11, so
that helps a little bit.
Yeah. So they can get a play in here. Weeden out of the gun, looking right, in trouble, and wisely threw it away.
Well, the only chance they had was to complete a ball on the boundary, and the Ravens weren't going to allow them to do that. You see them playing outside technique, and of course the pass rush gets there. Good job by Weeden not taking a sack in that situation. That's the one thing he couldn't do.
So with 7 seconds to go, you can hear the boos for Cundiff. This is a 51-yard attempt. He hit earlier from 21. The punter landing the holder. Angle to the left. For 51 yards. And it is good. Billy Cundiff. First from 21 and now from 51 with 2 seconds to play in this first half at a 6-0 lead for the Browns.
Well, Cundiff winning the battle of the kickers. I mean, seen a couple misses. This one just squeaks in the right side from 51.
Coming up this fall, Academy Award winner Robin Williams returns to television in The Crazy Ones. Premieres Thursday, September 26th, only CBS.
Well, this is the kind of start that the Browns needed. I mean, they come out and they've played really well defensively, shutting out the Ravens at home, and offensively, it's not been explosive by any stretch of the imagination, but they've taken care of the football. They've not turned it over. They've gotten some field goals, and they've gotten Weeden playing a lot better than he did a week ago. 13 of 17 with 158 yards in the first half. Sort of lost for words trying to describe their offensive performance in the first half.
Rich, you got the break coming up. You'll be fine. So Cundiff puts it into the end zone, and that'll be it for the first half. Ravens only 123 total yards.
We're going to get one more shot at it here.
Yeah.
2 seconds on the clock. Just enough for Joe Flacco to come out and kneel on it. Well, it has not been good for the Ravens on offense, and it's been decent field position, but they just haven't been able to do anything with it. And we talked about the problems that they've had on third down, just 1 of 7. And they need to be more productive on first down. They've gotten behind in the down and distance.
So that officially is the end of the first half, and the defending Super Bowl champs are hearing some boos from this crowd. Halftime in Baltimore. Browns with a 6-0 lead on the Ravens. We'll be back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. Welcome back to Baltimore, Maryland. Marv Albert, Rich Gannon. We head to the second half. A 6-0 lead for the Browns over the Ravens. Combination of the excellent defensive play of the Browns and the many struggles offensively for the Ravens.
Yeah, Marv, the Browns really look good defensively. The Ravens can't get anything going on offense. Just 122 yards of offense. Ray Rice, 5 carries, just 13 yards. And Joe Flacco has struggled on third down. Somebody in that huddle has to make a play.
Not many highlights to talk about in the first half as we take a look at the DirecTV Ultimate Picture Cam. This was the big play. Brandon Weeden, who did play well, able to connect with the tight end Jordan Cameron. A 53-yard pass play in all, and this set up the first field goal for Billy Cundiff, the one-time Raven. Able to connect from 21 yards away, and then later on hit from 51. And there you have the score, 6-0 for the Browns.
Yeah, not a lot of big plays on either side of the ball offensively for either team, the Browns and the Ravens, and it's kind of been one of those type of games, a defensive battle. When you look at the offensive plays, pretty even, total yards. Good pressure, I think, from both fronts on the quarterbacks. And again, you look at Flacco there, he's just been frustrated in the first half. Ray Rice quiet as well. Not often you see the Ravens shut out at home in the first half.
Justin Tucker getting set to kick it away to Bobby Rainey, 2-year man from Western Kentucky. Spent most of last season on Baltimore's practice squad and injured reserve. Ravens, who lost opening night in Denver, blown out with Peyton Manning throwing for 7 touchdowns, a 49-27 victory for the Broncos. And last week at home, the Browns lost to Miami in a lackluster performance, 23-10. Although Miami was held to 20-yard rushing, 23 attempts, and the Browns did come up with 4 sacks. Well, maybe we'll run it out to the 15. Across the 15-yard line. It is an 18-yard return. You see Weeden, 13 of 17, 158 yards.
Yeah, and as Norv Turner told us last night, that they're going to have to make some plays in the passing game in order to survive. They just can't keep relying, on the running game with Trent Richardson. So that was good to see. I thought he made some throws, made some plays down the field, and showed good movement in the pocket.
Looks like Quentin Groves, member of the special teams, a backup linebacker, is down. 6-year man out of Auburn, who was signed as a free agent from Arizona. We'll be right back. Browns training staff checking out special teams captain Quentin Groves, who came hobbling off by virtue of that kickoff return. So the Browns start out from the 18-yard line. Richardson running with pretty good power up across the 25. Went for 7. Arthur Jones there to make the stop.
Well, they get the good opening drive where they get a field goal. They close with a field goal, but Not a lot of production in the middle. And, they're going to have inconsistencies. What they can have are the turnovers, which absolutely were a killer last week. No turnovers so far in the first half. It's been a good start for this Cleveland offense.
Good to see Arthur Jones back. He sat out last week with a serious condition, a viral infection near his heart, and was given the go-ahead to get back into action today. Richardson trying to pick his way, but looks to be short of a first down. The rookie from Florida, first-round draft pick Matt Elam, coming up to make the stop.
Well, you got to give Ozzie Newsome and Eric DeCosta, the assistant GM and head GM, a lot of credit for how quickly they've replaced the personnel on defense. I mean, the mass exodus you think about last year, and of course they bring in Canty and Spears and Dumerville and Huff, and of course in the draft Elam and Arthur Brown and Brandon Williams.
Well, the Browns got the good spot and did pick up the first down. Here's Richardson trying to go wide. And he breaks tackles as he gets across the 35-yard line. Again, it is Elam involved on the stop. Missed tackle there by Darrell Smith.
Well, he's got such a wide base when you watch him running. He doesn't go down easily. You cannot arm tackle him.
Browns go with the no huddle. Eaton had the time and not able to connect with Greg Little. Ravens have won 7 straight here at home, and under John Harbaugh, they have won 24 of their last 27 regular season games here at home. They're down to the Browns here in the early moments of the third quarter, 6-0.
Yeah, you're right. They've dominated here at home, but they won't panic. You look at this football team, and even last year, I mean, this is a team that knows how to come from behind at home.
Chris Ogbonnaya in the backfield to the right of Whedon. And Whedon's pass is caught by Little. Right near the marker, and it appears he did pick up the first down. Jimmy Smith tried to keep him away. Greg Little, who last week had a couple of drops against Miami, and that has been a problem over his first 3 years. As Jimmy Smith shaken up. Little with 4 catches, 33 yards today. Smith, the backup quarterback.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Pizza Hut. Make it great. And by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV.
Just a gorgeous 73-degree day here in Baltimore, Maryland. Browns 1st and 10 from the 40. Play action. Whedon with a long look. Can't find anyone, and then slides across the 45-yard line.
Well, we haven't seen a lot of boots and rolls and nakeds from Brandon Whedon, but they've got it in their package. And what I like about this decision by Whedon, it's not there, and so he does the next best thing. He pulls it down and runs and picks up 5. A lot easier to call plays when you've got a quarterback that's willing to do that on first down.
2nd out and 5 at the 45-yard line. Richardson remains in the backfield. That's Little in motion. Richardson. And he is hit down. He ran into a couple of Ravens, led by Pernell McPhee, 3-year man from Mississippi State, and the end result, a loss of 3.
Well, they do a really nice job. You talk about setting the edge, and Pernell McPhee is going to blow it up, and of course they've got a bunch of purple hats to that ball. There's just absolutely nowhere for Trent Richardson to go.
Back to a 3rd down, and 8 at the 42, and this crowd continues to attempt to encourage the Ravens. A 6-0 lead for the Browns. Whedon being chased. Throws on the run. Oh, nice catch, but short of the first down. Devon Bess. Out at the sideline, you can see the Ravens say he bobbled it. Did not have possession.
You watch this. Whether or not he actually has. See that ball sliding around? I don't think he ever has possession. And when your offense is struggling, sometimes you need to create a negative play. I think the Browns need to challenge that one, or the Ravens need to challenge that one. Clearly, he doesn't have possession of that ball.
Well, it's a 4th down and 3 because he came up short, so no challenge. And Lanning is back to punt. Lanning inside his 35. And this time gets away a good one. And Doss lets it carry right to the goal line. But apparently ended up crossing that goal line, so they'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. All right, Rich, it is time right here for the enormously popular Quickie Quiz. Rich refusing to have his photo attached to this, so the staff came up with this.
Oh, you're much better looking than
No,
I
I
am.
wouldn't go that far, no. And here is the question. Of the original 3 Ravens mascots, who is the only Raven remaining? We're talking about A, Edgar, or is it Allen, or is it Poe? Meanwhile, the Ravens in a hurry up, and Ray Rice able to take advantage and has the first down. Buster Skrine was able to get to him, a 13-yard advance. Want to take a shot at that? Who is the remaining mascot after this replay?
Well, really nice job. You see Ray Rice. He's just going to run right through those arm tackles, and I'm going to go off the board and say C, Poe. How about Poe?
You going to stay with that?
That's my final answer.
All right, 1st and 10, and here is Rice. All right, the question: who is the remaining mascot? Because 2 of them did retire back in 2008. Edgar and Allen retiring, I'm told, due to a contract dispute. And Rich, for the first time, as we go back the last couple of years, you are correct. Poe is still there with details, I'm told, very sketchy, as Rice, again, is the ball carrier, stopped by Skrine.
I ran into Poe in the tunnel before the game.
You did.
Yeah, we talked a little bit, talked about the game plan, talked about the issues they're having offensively, all the losses that they've had from a personnel standpoint, defensively. He wasn't overly concerned, though.
You know, this is where I think there's something wrong, because mascots are not allowed to speak. As Flacco throws, and it is caught at the 40 by Torrey Smith. Biggest play of the game for the Ravens. It's good for 23 yards.
Well, a really nice route here by Torrey Smith. Good patience. You see him running the in route, and Hayden's there, but a perfect throw gets it done.
7 catches, 85 yards for Smith. Bernard Pierce now in the backfield. Takes the handoff. You get the connection, too. Edgar Allan Poe, Ravens.
Absolutely.
Okay,
I'm a poet. You don't even know it.
Oh, my.
Well, we haven't
This
seen
has really gone too far.
We haven't seen a lot of Pierce in the first half. I think he's a bruising backup to Ray Rice. He's got deceptive speed, and he hasn't practiced a lot this week.
2nd and 9 at the 38-yard line. Again, it's Pierce. Picked up 2. Bernard Pierce stopped by Joe Hayden. Pierce looks to run over defenders, has good speed, breaks tackles. 3rd-round pick last year out of Temple.
He was terrific last year in filling in for Ray Rice, and it keeps Ray Rice fresh, not just late in games, but late in the season.
Smith flanks wide to the right. Pierce remaining in the backfield. 3rd down and 7. Flacco underneath has a first down, combining with the rookie Marlon Brown. The tackle by Gibson. It's an advance of 11, and easily this the best drive of the day by Baltimore.
Well, they're really getting hurt by the underneath routes. You see Sheard, he's dropping. He never feels Marlon Brown cross his face. Doing a good job clearing out with the inside receiver and then bringing those outside receivers underneath.
Ray Rice with a short pickup. Desmond Bryant on the tackle. Rice goes for 2.
We're getting those receivers matched up against those linebackers, and that's That's the matchup that the Ravens want.
2nd and 8 at the 24. Rice the lone deep back. 7 minutes to play in the third. Ravens on the move, down 6-0. Here is Rice trying to cut back. Someone's helmet went flying, and Rice is stopped. No gain on the play. Craig Robertson, the inside linebacker, right there. Incidentally, the report on Quentin Groves, the special teamer who hobbled off earlier this quarter, has an ankle injury, and his return is questionable.
The Ravens jump the ball. They like this up-tempo. Makes it more difficult for the Browns to dial up all their blitzes and make substitutions.
Flacco looking at a 3rd down and 8. Steps up, throws. Stokely takes it out of bounds. Another 1st down and 11-yard pass play.
And another crossing route by the Ravens. You can see Flacco. He just steps in there and just kicks this one out to Stokely. And Green's chasing the whole way.
First reception of the day by Brandon Stokely. Ravens 1st down at the Browns 13-yard line. Here is Pierce. Breaking tackles, gets inside the 5. Joe Hayden finally able to bring him down. That's another 10-yard pickup.
Look at Vontae Leach. He's going to get the kick-out block first, and then you look at Pierce, a big, strong, physical back that's not going to go down easily. You've got the best pure fullback in football as a road grader, and you just lower your pads and run behind him.
This is the 12th play of the drive. Again, the handoff to Pierce. He drives forward. He's in. Touchdown. Baltimore.
Really good patience by Bernard Pierce. Just watch this power at the end, trying to see whether or not that right knee was down. And of course, the reaction from John Harbaugh, who's waited patiently for this offense to get started.
All scoring plays are reviewable, and they are checking it out. If it holds up, 12 plays, 80 yards in just under 6 minutes. Hear the moan from the crowd with the announcement that it is being reviewed. We have 5:13 remaining in this 3rd quarter.
Well, it's so hard to see whether that right knee is on the ground. It's a big pile. Well, I don't think the left knee is down. You can't really see what's going on with that right knee, but I think from that angle, you're going to have to assume it's a touchdown. Really nice drive by the Ravens. They start their own 20 to go 12 plays and 80 yards. 9 runs and just 3 passes on that drive. Relying on Rice and Pierce on the ground.
If it holds up, it'll be his 2nd career rushing touchdown. He's been playing through an injured thigh. And as you mentioned, Rich, provides a very viable change of pace for Ray Rice.
He's a different type of back than what you get with Ray Rice. A little bigger and a little stronger. Of course, he's an excellent job there extending the ball. And I think
it's tough to see because the defender is blocking his knee. You can't really tell. But they're taking a long look at it.
I think that'll stand. Really good push up front from that big Ravens offensive line. And they have the luxury here in Baltimore of having 2 productive backs that you just keep rolling a fresh one in there. It's Ray Rice and then Bernard Pierce.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
The game tied at 6 on that hard driving run by Bernard Pierce. And now here is Justin Tucker, who's had a tough day. He's missed 2 field goals, on for the extra point. Morgan Cox, the long snapper. Sam Cook will put it down. The Ravens take a 7-6 lead. An excellent drive orchestrated by Joe Flacco and the Ravens. Flacco converting 3 third-down conversions on that drive, and the Ravens have taken the lead 7-6. Bobby Rainey back deep for Tucker. And Rainey will run it out. Gets to the 20. And a couple more. So he runs it back for 26. And we'll be back in a moment.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon. Reliability you can believe in. That's powerful. And by Kelley Blue Book. Everything you need to make a smart new car decision is at kbb.com.
5 minutes, 8 seconds remaining, third quarter. Ravens with a 7-6 lead on the Browns. So Wheaton and the Browns start out at the 21-yard line. Richardson in the backfield. The handoff to Richardson. Tries the left side. His gang tackle refusing to go down. Goes for 8. Well, not everyone can be a quarterback. Get inside the minds of those who can. Join Phil Simms, Rich Gannon, Steve Merline, and Adam Shine on NFL Monday QB. That's tomorrow, 6:30 Eastern on CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports, which is, you keep telling everyone who will listen, not everyone can be a quarterback.
Not everybody, but I tell you what, a lot of fun doing that show. We did our first one last week. I'm looking forward to another one this week.
Richardson is hit back behind the line by Josh Bynes. Suggs with the initial hit. It's a loss of 3.
Well, you're going to see penetration. It starts off the edge with Suggs, and it forces Richardson to step up inside. You'll see Bynes come in there and clean up.
It's a 3rd and 4 at the 27-yard line. Wheaton able to complete and has a first down. Bess making the catch. A pickup of 8, and Cleveland with a first down. Corey Graham on the tackle.
Well, Corey Graham really struggled last week in the slot versus Wes Welker. It's no easy assignment. And the Browns have done a nice job moving Greg Little around. We've seen him outside, and in that situation, they move him inside, give him a stack release so he can get off some press coverage.
First down at the 35-yard line. Tight end Barnage into the backfield now with a handoff to Richardson. Picked up the extra blocker, gets to the 38. Nata makes the tackle.
Well, he's one of the most dominant interior linemen in the league, and he's so disruptive. You talk about an interior force, kind of a rare talent. I always refer to him as a space eater inside. And he's incredibly nimble for a big man. You'll see him run sideline to sideline, and it's really where it all starts in this Ravens defense. Great production inside from Haloti Ngata.
He goes 6'4", 340 pounds, a 4-time Pro Bowl nose tackle. Wheaton with the time and had an open man. Ogbonnaya not able to make the catch.
Boy, you got to hit him when they're open. Ogbonnaya, he's just going to sneak out of the backfield, and somehow they get their they get crossed up here. When you've got them this wide open, boy, you just got to hit them if you're Brandon Weeden. You just see this one, it just clearly not on the same page. And when you're throwing to backs, you've got to be exact with your location. You can't lead them. It's not like you're throwing to one of these receivers like Devon Best or Greg Little. You've got to put it on Obadiah.
That would have been a 62-yard touchdown pass play. Nobody near Obadiah. Penalty marker is down.
Delay game. Offense number 3. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
For the Browns, it's their second delay of game.
And Brandon Weeden, he's got to look at that 25-second clock. We've seen it a couple times today, where he's just simply not paying attention. Critical situation on third down.
Sets it back to a 3rd and 12. A look at the offensive coordinator, North Turner, who is upstairs.
North used to calling plays down on the field. Did it for so long in San Diego, now up in the box.
Weeden with 3rd and long. Firing into a crowd, but Little not able to hang on. Might have been a deflection.
Boy, you look at this one. This was an aggressive throw by Brandon Weeden. He's trying to fit this one in. You see the zone coverage, the linebackers drop, and watch him fit this thing in between 3 or 4 defenders. Man, that's asking a lot. Greg Little.
6th punt for Spencer Lanning. Tandon Doss back at his 20-yard line. Gets the good hang time. And Doss nowhere to go. 39-yard punt for Lanning. Craig Robertson the first to get to Doss. We'll take a break with 2:16 left in the 3rd. See that last drive on the ground for the Ravens. 36 yards, 9 attempts, combination of Rice and Pierce. Monte Leach in the backfield. Flacco swings it out. He has Leach. Leach stiff arms his way, breaks a tackle, has a first down. The ball sheared, finally was able to get him to the sideline. Monte Leach, a 10-year man from East Carolina, usually a lead blocker among the NFL's best, but able to make that reception.
And really good patience by Joe Flacco. He's looking downfield, it's not there. He kicks the ball wide to his fullback, Vontae Leach.
Picked up 12 at a first down at the 40.
Miami!
Now Rice, the lone setback. Rice, changed direction, looked to cut back, could not, stopped by Paul Kruger.
Well, Ray Rice got things started on this last drive. A good first run, and of course, some big plays down the field. A big completion to Torrey Smith. Bernard Pierce comes in and finishes off with his touchdown run. They got back to being who they were, a physical, downhill running football team, and then some play action mixed in as well.
2nd and 8 at the 42. Here is Rice. Fumble. Browns say they have it. And they do. Ray Rice with the fumble, and the Browns recover. Desmond Bryant, the defensive end, signed as a free agent from the Raiders, spent the last 4 years with Oakland, was on the ball coming up with the fumble recovery.
And it was caused by Craig Robertson. He's a nice job stripping it and stripping it. And of course, Bryant able to come up with the recovery. Ray Rice doesn't normally put the ball on the ground. This is one thing that they do a good job of, is taking care of the football.
Browns take over at the Ravens' 45-yard line. Richardson is in the backfield. Weeden punts. His own man bumped him down. Looked like Mitchell Schwartz made contact with Weeden, threw him off, and then Arthur Jones was able to get to Weeden for an 8-yard loss.
Yeah, Mitchell Schwartz, he just gets pushed right back into the quarterback, and it's a terrific effort there by Arthur Jones. Just pulls the quarterback down with one arm. Boy, what a wasted snap. You know, you get a great turnover by your defense. good field position, a good opportunity, then you give up a sack on first down and put yourself in a 2nd and 19 situation.
Total of 3 sacks.
Pull down.
For the Ravens. 2nd and very long. Whedon's pass deflected and incomplete. Intended for Little. Looked like Darryl Smith got a piece of it.
One of the things you can't do as a quarterback is fight zoning linebackers. This is zone coverage. You just see the linebacker comes in the corner of your picture there. He's going to bat the ball. Darryl Smith. He's the one that gets the hand on that throw.
15 seconds remaining. 3rd quarter. 3rd down. At 18. Whedon looked like he had it deflected, and it's caught. The catch is made. Obaniah was right there, able to follow the flight of the football and picked up 15 yards with 6 seconds to go in this 3rd quarter.
Well, Dumervil is going to get his hand on it, and really nice job there by Obaniah. Just unexpected good fortune, but just keep an eye on Elvis Dumervil. He is causing some fits for Mitchell Schwartz. He's just beating him with speed, some quickness, some power off the edge, not allowing Brandon Whedon to step into those throws.
It is still short of a first down as this 3rd quarter comes to a close with the score. The Ravens 7, the Browns 6 will return to Baltimore after this message and a word from your local station. On to the 4th quarter here in Baltimore. It's a 4th down at about the 39, 4th and 4, and the Browns going for it. Here is Whedon, able to gun it, but they're short of the first down. Jordan Cameron, the tight end, trying to extend to pick it up. Let's see where they spot it. Some of the Browns saying, no, we got it.
Well, we've seen a couple times today the Browns have run some crossing routes and have come up short, whether it's been on 3rd down or in this situation 4th down. You've got to get your depth as a route runner, and you've got to understand the situation in the game. On 4th and 4, you can't run a 3-yard route.
The fellow holding the yardstick moved away and then moved back to the right spot. It's very, very close.
Well, they're having a hard time even deciding whether or not it's a first down. Man, that is close.
The officials telling players to step out of the way.
Oh, he's going to get it.
This is infinitesimal.
To get a credit card out.
That'll be
Unbelievable.
Baltimore ball. They're just short. Good job, though, by the tight end Cameron, who extended himself, and he is 6'5" and nearly picked it up.
That is amazing. I mean, it doesn't get any closer than that, does it? That's about less than an inch. You say it's a game of inches sometimes. Huh, Marv?
Let me write that down. That's
another cliche.
So the Ravens about to take over at their 35-yard line, but there will be a challenge concerning the spot of the ball. The head coach, Rob Chudzinski, checking upstairs.
Cleveland is challenging the ruling on the play of the spot. Timeout.
So they'll check the spot. And as I mentioned, the yardstick guys were kind of on the move at the time. Browns challenging the spot of the ball on that last catch by the tight end Jordan Cameron. Ruling on the field was they were short of a first down.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Cleveland scores the first timeout and first challenge.
So the Ravens do take over. Cleveland charged with a timeout, so they have 2 remaining.
You know, it's always so difficult when you challenge a spot. You know, you're looking at all the different camera angles and you're essentially asking the officials to respot the football. They didn't see any evidence on the shots to go that direction.
Ravens 1st and 10 from their 36. The running back is Pierce. Looks to stretch it out. Going wide. Flag is thrown. Pierce has run well, but a penalty marker is down.
Holding. Offense number 84. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Called on the tight end, Ed Dixon, who is starting for the injured Dennis Pitta. A major loss for the Ravens. Dixon primarily a blocking tight end, although had a big year in 2011, 54 receptions for Dixon.
But you're right, he's more of an inline player, strong blocking presence, but he's not quite the route runner, nor does he have the hands of Dennis Pitta.
So it's a 1st and 20 back at the 26. Only the second penalty called on the Ravens. Pierce with the catch. Not much there. Let's check in. Set to go to our New York studios, JB and Shannon.
Mike Wallace is being fed today.
He had 1 catch last week, 9 for a buck 15, 1 TD. This 34-yarder would set up a 1-yard TD run by Charles Clay, and the Dolphins are in front on the road.
Late in the 3rd, back to Marv and Rich.
All right, guys, it is a 2nd and 22 back at the 24 for the Ravens. A minute gone by in this 4th quarter. Inside handoff to Pierce, and he is stopped in his tracks. And you can hear the reaction from this crowd. Well, Jackson is there to make the tackle.
Well, he's a rock in the Browns defense, and he played virtually every snap last season and led the team in tackles with 118. Makes a ton of plays in the middle for the Browns.
3rd and 21 at the 25-yard line. Here they come. Flacco steps up. His pass deflected, incomplete. Looked like Sheard got a piece of it. So it's a quickie series after that favorable spot for Baltimore.
A really nice pressure. You're going to see Jamal Sheard. Boy, he just walks Michael Orr right back into Joe Flacco. Oh, that was impressive. Just gets the right arm of Flacco.
5th punt of the day here for Sam Cook, back at his 11. Unusual formation on the punt as Cook gets it away. Benjamin veers to the far side and then just takes it out of bounds. Walks it out. 44-yard punt. 13 minutes, 18 seconds to go in the 4th quarter. Ravens with a 1-point lead.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon. Reliability you can believe in. That's powerful. The U.S. Postal Service. Schedule your free package pickup today. And by Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL.
Super Bowl champion Baltimore Ravens. The championship flag. Last year they go 10-6. Make it all the way to Super Bowl 47 and win it over the San Francisco 49ers. Been a struggle here this afternoon against the Browns. The pass from Wheaton is deflected and nearly intercepted off the hands of Little. And Darrell Smith certainly had an opportunity but could not come up with it.
A really nice play by Jimmy Smith. He's going to get his hands on this one. He's ripping the ball, trying to rip the arm of Greg Little out of the way. And Darrell Smith's got to find a way to make this play. This ball gets batted right up in the air. You just got to squeeze it. That one caught him off guard.
Wheaton now 18 of 27, 193 yards. Looking at a 2nd out and 10 from his 33. Standing in the pocket, can't find anyone and tosses it away.
We've been talking about how important it is for the Browns to defeat all this man-to-man coverage. They see a ton of it. And And the reasons why, I don't think anyone's overly concerned with their passing attack and inexperienced quarterback and wide receiver position. They don't have anybody just going to run by in that secondary. It's a problem right now. I mean, they really miss the presence of a guy like Josh Gordon, who has playmaking ability, had 50 catches last year, who's currently suspended.
It's game 2 of a 2-game suspension for Gordon, so he will return next week at Minnesota. Ravens
timeout.
take a timeout.
Baltimore.
So they'll have 2 left. Well, this week, don't miss the show that's in a league by itself with guys who take out all 32 teams and each other every week. James Brown, Phil Simms, Chris Collinsworth with the artistry of NFL films. Catch Inside the NFL. That's Wednesday at 9 only on Showtime.
You know, there's so much that happens at the quarterback position. It's impacted by what's going on around them. And, you know, you look at the lack of production the last couple of years at wide receiver. It's been a while since the Browns have had a dominant Pro Bowl wide receiver, a real go-to guy. You look at last year, Little had 53 catches, Gordon with 50. I mean, compare that to guys like Calvin Johnson with 122, Brandon Marshall, Wes Welker with 118. You get my point that the Browns just don't have that dominant number 1 receiver that a guy like Brandon Weeden can really rely on.
Right now, they're looking at Devon Bess, the tight end Jordan Cameron, Greg Little. As you mentioned, Josh Gordon will return. That'll be next week. Weeden in trouble and taken down. Darrell Smith. Loss of 10. 4th sack in all for the Ravens.
Well, you go back and you roll it, and we talk about all the man-to-man coverage and defeating man-to-man coverage. Go ahead and freeze it right there. I mean, there is nowhere to throw the ball. Everybody is covered. We talk about a coverage sack. I mean, it's good pressure up inside. Again, not a lot of separation on the back end.
Sack and a half for Darrell Smith thus far today. Goss is back forward. Picks up a blocker or 2. Has an opening. Down the sideline and take it out of bounds. Nice return by Camden Goss. Josh Aubrey is able to get him out of bounds. 40-yard punt, 21-yard return, and the Ravens get it back in excellent field position. Look at some of the numbers. Joe Flacco now 17 of 27, 163 yards as the Ravens take over at the Cleveland 42. Couple of big plays here by Baltimore's Rice is tripped up. We have the sack by Darrell Smith. How about that return by Tandon Doss? And Rice is hurting.
Well, that didn't look good. He actually goes down. He gets the ball and he goes almost right to the ground. And no one even tackles him. This didn't look good. You see, watch him get the ball, and all of a sudden it's like someone right there. You see him just head down to the ground. That is never a good sign. It's like he's grabbing that hip. This just didn't look right. You can almost tell something wasn't right. See him right there. He's grabbing that left hip. Always worry about fatigue and conditioning in the 4th quarter. A lot of these guys haven't played a ton of football in the preseason.
And it's
limited
been a
reps.
Very hot day. Started out 76 degrees. Ray trying to walk it off, heads back to the Ravens sideline.
Well, he accounts for such a high percentage of the team's total yards from scrimmage. You go back to all the way to 2009, over 35%. 7,577 yards since then, the most in football.
So Bernard Pierce, who has played well, checks back in. That screen pass is batted down, and it's Flacco who's had a couple passes that have been knocked down. Instead of Weeden, who had his problems last week and all last year, once again it's Mingo who goes 6'4", It's like a basketball rejection.
Yeah, he's a really good-looking player. And, of course, their first-round pick out of LSU. And a guy that battled injuries as well through the preseason with that lung injury that kept him out last week.
3rd down and 10 at the Cleveland 42. Flacco able to stand in and completes inside the 30, finding Brandon Stokely for a first down. That's good for 17. Second catch made by the 37-year-old Stokely.
Really nice job. They bring this middle dog cross. It's a nice job by Bernard Pierce stepping in there and picking up the linebacker and giving Flacco some time to make that throw.
They're in the hurry up, and it's Pierce working his way inside the 25. Billy Wynn getting the wraps on Pierce, who picked up 3. Bernard Pierce, 3rd-round draft pick last season out of Temple University.
What a great luxury that they have here in Baltimore with a back like Bernard Pierce. The guy that played a lot of plays last year in relief of Ray Rice, and they weren't afraid to play him as a rookie.
2nd down and 7 from the 23. Again, Pierce takes the handoff and a short pickup. Paul Kruger, the former Raven, is right there. Well, from the Ravens sideline, the word is, yes, left hip injury, but nothing further to report.
Yeah, he's left the field to go in and get probably x-rays and looked at. Talk about complimentary football and how important that is. That sack by Darrell Smith, the punt return by Tandon Dawson, of course, a big 3rd down conversion to keep this drive alive.
3rd down and 8 from the 24. Flacco completes. Has the rookie Marlon Brown for a first down. It'll be 1st and goal for Baltimore. 17-yard pass play.
Boy, it's so nice to have bigger receivers. And you mentioned Moore, free agent out of Georgia, 6'5", 205 pounds, big, fast, and physical, and he'll go up and get it.
He's been starting in the absence of Jacoby Jones. Actually, Stokely started today, but Brown has played quite a bit. And here is Pierce trying to take it to the left side. Marlon Brown was very highly regarded at Georgia. That hurt his knee last November, and that hurt his draft status. Ended up as a rookie free agent.
Yeah, you know, and he's a guy that's got to grow up in a hurry. You know, you think about the injuries that they have right now at the wide receiver position to Jacoby Jones, and they're counting on Marlon Brown to make some big plays in the passing game.
2nd and goal at the 5. The running back is Pierce, who came off for Rice. Flacco has Brown, touchdown! And a 23-yard touchdown reception last week, his 2nd NFL touchdown. Marlon Brown with his 5th catch, and the Ravens extend their lead.
And I liked how he just plucks it out of the air with that slant route. You've got the bigger receiver on the smaller corner. Chris Owens just 5'9". We talked about the size advantage for the Ravens.
Here's Justin Tucker for the extra point. $14 unanswered for the Ravens. 8 plays, 42 yards, 3 minutes and 20 seconds. It ended with that. Marlon Brown takes across the goal line.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Subway. Any regular footlong is a $5 footlong at Subway this September. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Just under 9 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter. Marv Albert, Rich Gannon. Ravens have a 14-6 lead on the Browns. Bobby Rainey is back deep, awaiting the kickoff from Justin Tucker. And Rainey lets it go. They'll move it out to the 20. Well, coming next, it's the first time that both starting quarterbacks threw for 400 yards the previous week. They're both named Manning. Peyton and the Broncos go up against Eli and the Giants of the Jaguars and the Raiders. Check your local listings. It's actually the third meeting between the two, and I'm told that Eli actually has taken 4 out of 7 in Nerf basketball.
Well, Peyton has never lost to his younger brother, and we see the numbers there. And that's going to be a fun one later today.
How about Terrell Pryor, who had certainly a decent game last week against the Colts. The catch made by Richardson, although interceptions down the stretch hurt him. Darryl Smith able to make the stop, pick up a 4.
Well, the Browns just got to get some momentum back offensively. They've got to do a better job protecting Brandon Wheaton. The edge pressure has been a problem here in the second half from Dumerville and Suggs.
Second down and 6. Wheaton to the middle of the field for a first down. The catch made by the big tight end Jordan Cameron.
Well, you look at the Ravens. They had a difficult time defending the middle of the field last week against Denver. I'm not surprised to see Norv Turner trying to attack in that middle of the field with a tight end.
4th catch for Cameron. It's good for 21. First down at the 45. Wheaton with some time, and it's broken up. Pass intended for Greg Little, slapped away by Jimmy Smith.
Really nice coverage there by Jimmy Smith. We've seen him make a couple of really nice plays on Greg Little, just getting his hand in there at the end. Just watch this right hand of Jimmy Smith. Good vertical jump there. Very athletic corner.
Jimmy Smith, first round draft pick 3 years ago out of Colorado. He was fined $7,900 this week by the NFL for unnecessary roughness, stemming from a penalty during the loss to Denver on the Thursday night opener. Wheaton picked it up again, intended for Little, facing double coverage.
This is not an easy catch, but boy, you've got to make them. Talked about in traffic. Pretty nice route here by Greg Little, and a terrific throw by Brandon Wheaton. The thing I don't like, he's got to come out flatter. We talk about a friendly angle, but boy, you've got to be able to squeeze this one if you're Greg Little. You've got to make that catch.
That brings up a 3rd and 10 at the 45. An official timeout. The head coach of the Browns, Rob Chudzinski, who was Cleveland's offensive coordinator back in 2007. The last time they had a winning season, he spent 10 years as an assistant at the University of Miami, his alma mater.
He grew up in Toledo. Talked to us the other night about this being his dream job. He says he doesn't have to set an alarm clock in the morning, and he just loves coming to work, and obviously he really wants to turn this team into a winner. Talk about a sustainable winner in Cleveland.
Well, he grew up as a Browns fan. Said his favorite player, Hall of Fame tight end Ozzie Newsome, who is now the general manager of the Baltimore Ravens. 3rd and 10 from the 45.
Well, they didn't get it off. Nope. That's ridiculous. And after a clock stoppage like that, there is no excuse for a delay of game.
And Rich, that's the 3rd delay of game on the Browns.
I mean, you've had an injury on the field, you had a clock stoppage, you've got the play in the huddle, you've got time to make all the adjustments. You see the frustration there from offensive coordinator Norv Turner.
Delay game, offense number 3, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
And these are not the kind of situations you want to be in against the Baltimore Ravens. 3rd and long, where they can bring pressure now.
Benjamin flanks wide to the right. Best to the left. Wheaton floats it out there, and it is caught. It's short of a first down. Obadiah on the reception. Picked up about 8.
Well, just, really some poor decisions there by, Wheaton's got to do a better job. Even decisions when the ball is not in his hands. I mean, there's no excuse for the delay of game in that situation. Of course, you come up 7 yards short. It's too hard to call plays. You know, you look at your script, you look at your play sheet. You don't have a lot of plays for 3rd and 15 against this Baltimore defense.
Spencer Lanning will punt. High snap. Doss had a good return early in this fourth quarter. This one he lets go, and they'll bring it out to the 20. That'll be recorded as a 51-yard punt. We're set for an upstate. Let's go to JB and Shannon Sharp.
No quit in Tennessee.
JB, a 9-play, 99-yard drive, capped off Jake Locker, Delaney Walker, the Swiss Army knife. 23-16, and they just ran a pick six back, so Tennessee is up on top. 30-16 now, Jake.
4:59 left in regulation. Marv Albert, Rich Gannon.
All right, guys. Ravens take over at their 20-yard line. Coming up on 7 minutes to go here in the fourth. Bernard Pierce remaining in the backfield for the injured Ray Rice. Pierce goes for 7, stopped by Kruger.
Good look at Paul Kruger, the former Raven, and is anxious to come back here today and play against a lot of his former teammates, and he's going to be a great addition.
Led the Ravens last season with 9 sacks. Second-round pick back in 2009. Said he still has feelings for the Ravens. Talks to a lot of the guys. This is Pierce. Has a first down. Set for another update. Here's JB and Shannon.
Marv, Tennessee still not done.
Yes, JB, I got ahead of myself. It was 17-16 Tennessee, and then Matt Schaub did this. The question that we all have, can Matt Schaub do it? Al Teron Burner takes it back the other way, 24-16, under 5 minutes left in the fourth. Titans on top.
Marv and Rich.
All right, thanks, JB.
A big win for Tennessee last week on the road in Pittsburgh, and now playing tough in the division against the Texans.
First and 10 from the 31 as Pierce goes wide and then takes it out of bounds. Run out by Gibson. Goes for 6 more.
Well, they're just chipping away at this Cleveland front 7. I mean, 5 and 6 yard clips with Bernard Pierce. Just wearing them down late in the running game. This is where good teams, I'm sorry, Mark, this is where good teams, good offenses have the ability to finish you off at the end. Not give the ball back. Take this ball down the field and come away with the field goal. The game's over.
2nd and 5 at the 36-yard line. And they stay on the ground with Pierce short of a first down. Sheard makes the stop. Baltimore has won the last 10 straight against Cleveland. Browns' last win over the Ravens back in November of 2007.
And Baltimore having to do it without Ray Rice, who left the game earlier with what appeared to be a hip injury. And you've seen heavy doses of Bernard Pierce at times with Vontae Leach in there, at times just a single back. And he's been chipping away at this Cleveland defense.
3rd down and 3 off the roll. Flacco completes at the marker for a first down. Stokely on the reception. Brandon Stokely in his 15th NFL season. He is 37 years old. Originally was a 4th-round pick of the Ravens. A member of their 2001 Super Bowl championship team.
Yeah, it took a while to get that out there, and Stokely does a nice job being patient. That's where Brandon doesn't quite have the speed, but he's always been nifty and very creative in the slot. He has a good sense and a good feel for the type of coverage. He's got great patience.
First down for Baltimore. They now go with Pierce and Leach. Leach leads the way for Pierce. Well, Jackson making the stop. Pierce with no gain, although he had Leach in front of him, but not able to find any room.
If you study this Ravens team, you know they know how to finish late in games regardless of whether or not they have a lead. They're mentally tough under John Harbaugh. 9 games last season were decided by 3 points or less, including the postseason. They don't panic in tight games.
2nd and 10. On a delay, this is Pierce. Gain of 3. We checked with the Ravens. We're still awaiting a further update in terms of x-rays on Ray Rice. Timeout is taken by the Browns, so they have 1 remaining.
The Browns have to find a way to get a stop here. This is a critical down in the game and starting to run out of opportunities. That's why Chud took the timeout. Defense looks like it's wearing down, having a difficult time stopping the run. Need to find a way to get off the field here on 3rd down.
Just under 4 minutes to play in this 4th quarter. Cleveland led at the half 6-0 on the 2 field goals by Billy Cundiff. And now you see Brandon Wheaton headed to the locker room.
Well, that's unusual. I didn't see him go down. Better hustle back.
Flacco's pass caught again by Stokely, but short of the 1st down. Gain of 5. He was stopped by Screen, the right corner. And it looks like the Browns again call for the timeout. It's Jason Campbell getting ready. We saw Wheaton headed to the locker room just a moment ago. Jason Campbell, the backup, signed as a free agent from the Chicago Bears. Spent 5 years with Washington. Was a starter with the Redskins. 3 years with the Raiders.
Yeah, you look at Wheaton, he was hustling to the locker room, so it certainly didn't look like a lower extremity injury. I don't know if he jammed his finger or hand on a helmet or whatever, but getting ready to see Jason Campbell. And this is what you prepare for as a backup quarterback. Limited reps during the season. He's a veteran guy and a guy that's familiar with this system. And what an unbelievable opportunity for him to come in here and try and help the Browns win a game.
Punt number 6 for Sam Cook. And Travis Benjamin lets it fly by and takes a nice hop for the Ravens. Landing at about the 1. A 49-yard punt and a beauty by Cook.
Well, it took a terrific bounce. Really nice job by the coverage units. And now you're going to force Jason Campbell and the Browns to go a little over 99 yards. As I always say, no hill for a climber. You know,
really?
You just jump in there, you tell these guys, all right, we've been here before. We don't have any timeouts, but 3:34.
I'm constantly writing these little slogans down. We're told that Wheaton suffered a thumb injury, and his return is questionable, so Jason Campbell, welcome. Campbell takes over for Wheaton in a very difficult spot here from the 1. From deep in the end zone, he fires, and it is deflected. Flag is down. Michael Huff, the free safety, got a piece of it. The intended receiver appeared to be tripped up.
Pass interference. Defense number 26. Flat foul. Automatic first down.
It is called on Matt Elam, the rookie out of Florida. It's a 21-yard penalty. Sets up a first down at the 22.
Well, you're going to see Huff come in there, and he's got to make that play. And of course, Elam, you've got a rookie making a rookie mistake at a critical time. You're going to challenge whether or not this ball was tipped. Boy, if you're Jason Campbell, you can't make this throw coming out of your own end zone. I mean, pretty good protection here. He just never feels the safety. Huff down the middle. That ball clearly gets deflected by Michael Huff.
Baltimore is challenging the ruling on the field. The ball is tipped.
So the Browns challenge.
And there's a couple of things here. I mean, this ball is tipped. It's when the PI occurs. If the pass interference happens before the ball is tipped, then in fact, this is going to be PI. But this ball is clearly tipped. I don't know when the pass interference. I think they're going to call the interference earlier on Elam, who actually runs into the receiver. You see Elam's here, and there's Huff.
The intended receiver, Devon Bess.
I really don't see it there. Looked like Elam was coming back across, and you see Devon Bess just fall down. I just don't see the foul in that situation.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The runner was hooked, knocked off his route prior to the ball being tipped. 1st and 10.
Again, what happened was that the pass interference, they determined that happened before the ball was tipped by Michael Huff. So they're going to call the penalty on the rookie, Matt Elam, hooking Devon Bess.
So it's a 1st and 10 at the 22-yard line, with 3:27 remaining here in the 4th quarter.
And you actually get Jimmy Smith back, who's been out a couple plays since he ran into the safety.
Jason Campbell has come on for Brandon Weeden. Incomplete. Pass intended for Bess.
With some indecision there from Jason Campbell. He looked like he was trying to throw this one down the field at the last second. You just watch his eyes and his arm. Just kind of whips that one back across the field at Devon Bess. It's just too hard and too high for him to haul in. There's too many drop balls today from these Browns receivers. We saw it was a problem again last week against Miami.
2nd and 10 from the 22. The low snap headed by Campbell. Trying to direct traffic and then fires one. Greg Little was in the area, covered by Jimmy Smith.
And when you see this quarterback outside the pocket, there's got to be a sense of urgency with the receivers down the field. You see Campbell there telling the receivers to work back to the quarterback. When you get outside the pocket, you're scrambling to your left. You need the receivers to break off the routes and start working back downfield. You just don't see that. Can't work upfield. That's too hard of a throw for Jason Campbell moving to his left.
3rd and 10 at the 22-yard line. Campbell being chased. And that throw way off the mark. Bess in the area. And I'm assuming this is 4-down territory.
I think it is with no timeouts and 3:09. They still got to go almost 80 yards. Boy, Campbell has not looked comfortable back there. And of course, we talked about their inability to defeat the man-to-man coverage, which they're seeing a ton of here in the 4th quarter.
Brandon Weeden back in the locker room after suffering a thumb injury. So Jason Campbell has come on, and it's a 4th and 10 from the Cleveland 22. Campbell again can't find anybody, just underhands to the tight end. Cameron shy of a 1st down, of the Ravens will take over.
Really nice job by the Ravens. They've gotten it done with 4-man rushes, and they've forced Jason Campbell just about every snap to do what? To move to his left. Really nice job there by a bunch of players. Arthur Jones and, of course, Dumerville, Suggs, getting constant pressure and forcing Jason Campbell off the spot.
So So Baltimore takes over 1st and 10 at the Cleveland 28. Bernard Pierce remaining in there for Ray Rice, who went out with that hip injury. No further reports as Pierce finds a hole. Picked up 7.
Well, we go back and look at the Ray Rice injury, and just it's kind of a weird one. He just gets the ball on a little off tackle play and he just goes right down. And you can see him reaching for that left hip. He knew something was wrong almost immediately. That is one guy you can't afford to not have. He has been so productive for the Ravens, not just in the running game, but the passing game as well.
In Baltimore, without Jacoby Jones, without tight end Dennis Pitta, with a number of major changes. This is Pierce.
They may have to win ugly for a while. And you mentioned all the injuries, and they've not looked overly impressive offensively. I think it's going to take a while for them to find their rhythm as an offense.
2 minutes remaining in this 4th quarter. Ravens with a 14-6 lead on the Browns. Well, as you see, no timeouts remaining for the Browns. They used a couple in a hurry just moments ago here in this 4th quarter. It's a 3rd and 4 at the 22 as Pierce looks to turn the corner, and he does, and has a 1st down.
Does a nice job staying in bounds as well. Keep that clock moving. You see him slow to get up. They'd be in bad shape if they lose Bernard Pierce. Really nice job setting the edge, and you see Bernard Pierce is a little quicker than you think sometimes when he gets out on the perimeter.
Has that change of pace move, although he's a powerful runner. Obviously not an overwhelming performance offensively once again for the Ravens, but just enough, and they don't want to take any chances here. He's running it down. Perhaps kick a field goal, and now Flacco takes a knee.
How about Joe Flacco today, huh? Big win for him. He goes 11-0 all time against Cleveland. Of course, he'll I don't even know if he's going to shower. I think he just runs. I think he runs right to the hospital, go home and go greet that new baby of his. Congratulations to Joe Flacco and his lovely wife Dana on the birth of their baby earlier today.
2nd boy for the Flaccos. The numbers: 22 of 33, 211 yards, 1 touchdown. And the Ravens next week home for Houston, then at Buffalo, at Miami. Browns next week at Minnesota. Brandon Whedon's status certainly questionable. And then home for Cincinnati and Buffalo. And for the Ravens, no further word on Ray Rice, who suffered that injured hip.
Just keep your fingers crossed if you're the Ravens. Of course, that would be a huge blow if he's not able to play. You think about the hip injuries. They had one earlier in training camp, Dennis Pitta. You see how the impact that's had on the passing game.
So the Ravens have now won 11 straight against Cleveland here at home. They've won 7 straight home openers. Final score 14-6 coming up next. Broncos at Giants or Jaguars and the Raiders.